just another example, a little miniature. There's a little example of a species called Angraecum. That's from tropical Africa. Just little white flowers with long little nectar spurs for its pollinators to attract, so they'll come and pollinate it. That one's almost on its way out, but I brought it so you can see that. And then finally here, then I have some that this is something that there's two things that I'm kind of, as you continue to grow orchids, you kind of go into other areas that you haven't tried, things that sometimes are a little bit more challenging. So two things, there's a species called Habanerias, and they're mainly from Southeast Asia. They're another example. They go completely dormant when these guys get done blooming. The whole top's going to die back, and they'll just be a pot. I won't water it at all until, again, probably about March or so, and then when I start seeing the little sprout, and they come in like some different colors. Now this one actually had two big spikes. This actually had a whole bunch of flowers on it at one point, but that's the last one of the that's just the little plant that's still blooming. And kind of the same thing, that's Habenaria. These are called Habenaria rhodocilum. Kind of the same thing. Little species with pink flowers. And then this is one I actually ordered a different plant, and they sent me this one, and actually I was delighted because this is actually a really kind of rare plant. I think they made a mistake, but whatever. It's another type of Habenaria with little white flowers. And again, once these guys get done flowering, and I clip the spike off, the leaves, and you can already see they're starting to go, which is just natural. And they'll eventually just die back, and I'll stop watering it, and it'll stay happy until next spring sometime. And then finally, speaking of orchids that you grow primarily actually for their foliage, not really their flowers. One that I really recommend to everybody, and you may have seen these, this is a type they're called jewel orchids. And when you come up, you can see, especially if you can see it in the sunlight, it's got the little streaks in it they're basically metallic. And in the sun, they shine like little stripes of, in this case, kind of a reddish stripe of metallic in it. Very easy to grow. Literally, you can even grow them in potting soil. They're called ludesias. And these guys are just getting ready to bloom. These are actually two little bloom spikes. They'll send a spike up, and they have white flowers with little yellow anthers, bright yellow anthers on them. And so they're pretty for that, but mainly, they can get really big. I have one pot at home that's just a great big pot, and it doesn't take long. After they bloom, some of the leaves will get a little funky in the wintertime, but then in the spring, I just take these rhizomes and chop them up, just break them right. You can just break them. You can just see the natural little divisions along there. Snap them, lay them on top of some damp soil, maybe push them in about halfway. They'll start up new plants. These things you can just make scads of them by dividing them. They're really easy. And they're